It says the broadcast is live.
We are live.
With a man with a beard.
The man without a beard.
Yeah.
We'll wait till some folks come in. I know they're probably watching other streams right now, so. I see Jonathan's here and Belinda's here.
Oh,
hey guys.
I'm not here. Who am I? I'm an imposter. Now you're well, okay, let's see. Try the light off again. And then go in the middle. Yeah, you're a little shadowy there.
Yeah.
Look like you're hiding in the trees.
Belinda said I look orange.
You do look a little orange. Is it a yellow light, like an incandescent or LED type of light?
It is.
Yeah. Well, like
B3 Relic Recovery. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Marlon.
Hi, Marlon.
How are y'all tonight?
Everybody's doing well. I'm doing well.
I am doing well.
It's a good day. It was breezy up here in New Hampshire.
It was breezy here today too.
I think next week though we're getting some of your Georgia weather, some of your southern weather. It's supposed to be in the 80s, or no, it's supposed to be in the 70s, pushing 80. Maybe that's not so much Georgia weather. Maybe. Are you getting above 80?
We hit 88.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's going to be a while before we
Thursday. It was nice yesterday.
Yeah. For us, 88 will probably be end of June.
Yeah, Thursday was our hottest.
Close to the equator there, Paul.
Well, what can you do?
I don't know. I know what I want to do.
I do too.
Move down south. You want to move north. I want to move south. I want to move mid-Atlantic, I think. You know, it's a happy medium. Because I like the snow. I do. I just don't like it sticking around as long. I don't like the icy, crunchy stuff that you get when, snow sticks around and just begins to evaporate, and I don't know.
As of this year, I'm set for snow for a while.
So I never, stupid me, I never thought it snowed in even the northern part of Georgia. I thought snow was only maybe a North Carolina, Virginia thing. But you're on the mountain, so that's a different climate than Savannah.
Yeah, that was a rough week.
That's when you were without power.
Yep.
And as such, without your typical heat source.
Exactly. And run out of wood.
Well, look at all the wood in your backyard.
It's all pine, and I don't like burning pine.
Yeah. That, a little bit of it's okay, but yeah, you don't want a lot of pine. It's smoky, and it's pitchy, and it's creosote.
Exactly. And don't try to burn a lot of green wood either, because it'll...
Yeah, that's terrible stuff, too. You wouldn't want to cut that and burn it. No hardwood. There are no hardwood trees back there?
Oh, yeah, they are, but they're my pride and joy.
Oh, so you don't want... All right. How much... Okay, let me ask you this, because I was talking a while back with some people about this. How much... And we'll get to coin grading in a moment. How much does a cord... I'm going to ask Marlon, too, if he knows, up in our lovely neighbors in Canada. How much does a cord of wood cost, cut and delivered in your area?
I couldn't tell you.
Know? So
I don't buy it by the cord. I just, buy pieces enough to get us through what I think will get us.
Okay. Okay.
Because we don't, you know, generally we don't lose power that much.
Yeah.
But when we do, I make sure I've got plenty of wood to get us through that session.
Yeah.
When Daddy orders a cord, it runs around $250.
All right. Glenda said her daddy orders it, and it runs roughly $250 for a cord.
Okay. Wow. In New Hampshire, which, keeping in mind, New Hampshire is like 75% forested still. In New Hampshire, cordwood, we have a wood stove, and I don't burn. I don't burn exclusively wood, but we have it as a backup.
Right.
But we still like to have it if it's really cold outside. Cordwood up here is about, I would say, $360 cut dry, delivered. And I said that to, I think I was talking with Brad, Hoosier Hillbilly, and Charlie Reiser. Brad lives in Indiana. Charlie lives in New Jersey, and they were both shocked because they thought, I think their prices were more in line with what Belinda just said in the 200s. So I don't know if we're getting, I don't know why it's be so expensive up here. I could see, you know, you're trying to buy cordwood in like New Mexico where there aren't forests, but you think if there are a lot of forests, there are a lot of people cutting down trees for development or whatever. And I never quite understood that, but.
Yes, Marlon, that's already chopped, ready to throw in the fireplace.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So it's dried. In some cases, it's kiln dried. If you really want to go fancy pricey, it's debarked. So you have to worry about all the bark ash in your wood stove. Anyway, I just think it's interesting to see how things are that way. In different parts of the country, it's just kind of like gasoline. I can kind of understand gasoline being cheaper in Louisiana, Alabama, because that's where it's processed and all that, and it doesn't have to be trucked. But anyway.
All right.
Well,
we've said hello to everybody, and let's jump into this, Jonathan.
Okay. So, do you want to talk a little bit about what our game plan is here in general? So, what kinds of coins are going to be looking at, and
yeah, if you'll run through yours right quick, and I'll run through mine, and
okay. Well, I think a good place to start is why are we doing this to coins? What's the purpose of looking at a coin, right? And saying what's its grade? What does that matter? In a sense, it doesn't matter. If you like a coin, you like a coin. It doesn't matter what the grade is. But simply put, in the case of numismatics anyway, grading is a set of recognized and somewhat standardized, agreed upon rules that describe a coin's condition. And those sets of rules, so you have a system of rules, a set of rules, and those rules are then put into a set of standards. So it's like the system is like the foundation of the house, right? And the standards they further define it. So it's like building on top of that foundation. And for US coins, that foundational system, that foundational grading system is the one that's used most by far is the Sheldon system. It's named after a man named William Sheldon, who in the 50s put specific grades on coins like good, very good, fine. You've probably heard those kinds of conditions when you see coins. He also put attached a number to each of those grades. And the reason why I did it is because Sheldon was a coin collector, and he realized that when he was collecting, and before then, a collector or a dealer could use really vague, subjective terms to describe a coin's condition. So a coin could be described as having below average circulation and slight toning. Well, that can mean anything to anybody. It's going to mean different things to different people. I could look at a coin described as that and then get it and say, wait a minute, this isn't below average circulation. This is heavily circulated, or there's a problem here, or this is worn more than it should be. So that's why Sheldon did that. He wanted to standardize it, right? He wanted to come up with these rules. And Sheldon's system ranges going from low condition of a coin, and we're talking about the circulation condition, going from low condition to high condition. It starts at something called basal state, which is a coin that's so worn, it's worn down to basically like a disc of metal. right? You can only tell what it is by its composition, its diameter, its weight. And then after that, you have about good, good, very good, fine, very fine, extremely fine, about uncirculated, and then mint state. So that's the scale. That's the range. So basal state, about good, good, very good, fine, very fine, extremely fine, about uncirculated, and then mint state. So that's the range that Sheldon came up with. So when you hear those terms, you can thank William Sheldon for that. Now, Sheldon also fine-tuned that set of conditions with a series of numbers. So in the Sheldon system, you can have a coin that's fine 12 or a coin that's fine 15. So a coin that's fine 12, fine 15. They're both in the Sheldon scale a fine coin, a coin in fine condition, but the idea is a fine 15 coin will be slightly higher condition than a fine 12 coin, if that makes sense. They're both fine coins, but one's going to be slightly more detailed than the other. That's the idea anyway. And those Sheldon numbers also have a range. They go from 1 is that basal coin that you can barely identify if you can, up to 70. And a 70 is a mint state coin that it's the highest you can get, right? It's a coin that looks exactly like it looked when it came out of the die, okay? It doesn't have bag marks, doesn't have scuffs, fingerprints. Of course, it's not been circulated, wasn't thrown into a bank bag and jingled around with all these other coins. So that's basically it. So with Sheldon, you have these words that describe the condition, about good, good, etc. And then you have the numbers that correlate to that. So that's the system, right? That's the foundation. Then on top of that, in American coin collecting, you have, for example, the ANA, the American Numismatic Association, back in the 1970s, I think it was, took this Sheldon system and applied it to every U.S. coin that was ever minted. So the ANA created the standards, right? So the standards are on top of the system. They're on top of that foundation. So they took the idea of extremely fine, for example, and said, okay, if we're looking at a peace dollar, and if that peace dollar is extremely fine 40, right? Extremely fine 40, that's the Sheldon piece. If you're looking at a peace dollar that's extremely fine 40, this is what it should look like when you look at it with the naked eye, or if you look at it with 5 or 7 power magnification, right? So those ANA standards basically applied specific physical circulation characteristics to the coin to further define that grade, to further focus on that grade. And that's what Paul and I are going to do tonight. We're going to look at some US coins, and we're going to see what system we would grade them on. And by the way, as far as the standards go, this is what I use. This is me. Other people may have different preferences, but this is hold the camera. This is what I use. It is the American Numismatic Association grading standards. It's kind of a ring bound thing, so it can lay flat. Has nice color pictures and has nice descriptions of every U.S. coin ever minted. Not things like commemoratives, but every silver, copper, gold coin ever minted by the United States. You're going to see the grading standards in here. Now, another tool you can use is, which I think is a fine one, is Pcgs, the company that grades, one of the top companies that grades coins, has a free, on their website, a free service called Pcgs Photo Grade. That's a great one. That works as long as you have a device and internet connection. I have a preference to print. So there's that book. You can also look in something like this, which is the Red Book, which every U.S. coin collector should have. It has all sorts of information, including brief descriptions of what the grade should be. Nowhere near as detailed as this, but this is a good resource, a good starter resource. Then there are red books like this, which are specific to certain coins. This, for example, is the Red Book for half cents and large cents. So it's really going to go into much more detail about the coin itself and its characteristics and the grading of it. And there are books like this. This is called the Mega Red Book, which is essentially this book. Let's see if I can get in there. This book is essentially this book on steroids, because this book, you can tell the difference here. this book is about that narrow, and this book is, so obviously there's a lot more detail in this book about the coins and their mintages, their stories, their characteristics, that sort of thing. But in a general sense, for grading, the Red Book is a great source to start with, and this is a great book to have too. I don't remember how much I paid for this. I mean, a Red Book you can get under $20, and I would say for a Red Book, I have always purchased the year before on Amazon. I've always purchased the year before in hardcover. I like hardcover; it just holds up better, I think. So this is the 2019. So I probably got this in 2020, and it's maybe 60-70% of the retail price of a brand new one, but the information is going to be the same. The only difference is it's going to be 1 year later, and big deal. It's not going to be that much difference. This book, the ANA grading standards, it's published by Whitman. Let's see, there's a price on here. On the back, on the barcode, it says $19.95. I bet you can get it cheaper on like Amazon, or you could probably get it at a place like Hobby Lobby or something, or especially like a Hobby Lobby if they're having a sale or something, or if you have a discount coupon sort of thing, you can get it even cheaper than that. But it's worth having in your library. So that's basically grading. That's what we're going to do. Paul will explain how we're going to organize the coins as we grade, and then we'll pop one up on the screen and we'll look at the condition. We'll look at those physical characteristics, those circulation characteristics, and we'll take it from there and see what we think the coin should grade as. These are all raw coins, by the way. These are coins that have not been graded by anybody else. This is just this brain and that brain. I can't quite touch it, but that brain there. We're just looking at it, and we're going to apply these standards and say, okay, well, based upon this information, this is what we think it should grade as. Yeah. Because a lot of you might come across coins that you've inherited or you've found metal detecting or whatever, and it's good to at least have an idea as to what the grade is, so you know a little bit more about it.
Well, let's say hello to Kane Beepin and Digging with Deej. Welcome, guys. Appreciate y'all joining us tonight. And what we're going to do, we're going to go in Numismatic. I can't say it, Jonathan. Numeric order. And
based on the denomination, lowest to highest,
right? And Jonathan happens to have a half cent.
Yeah, I pulled the low one today. I'm the low man on the totem pole. But so a half cent. Hey, there are people I know who've dug half cents, and it's not a particularly common coin. The half cent was stopped right before the Revolutionary. Good Lord, right before the Civil War. I think 1856 or 7 was the last year of the half cent. Maybe 58. So. You never know. So what I will do is, let me move the chat window over. Let me move this window. Actually, let me put this one more in the center so I'm not looking off to the side. Put that there. And let me change my camera.
All right. And I will stop. Up.
Like I said, we don't want Paul to press anything.
Hold on.
There we go. And if it's easier, Paul, just leave it on the screen if it's just that.
Okay. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. So, every coin, it has 3 sides, right? It has we're not going to look at the third side. It has an obverse, which is the front. It has a reverse, which is the back. And it has the edge, which is the, it's that side. We're not going to worry so much about that. So let's look at the obverse of this coin. So
let's say hello to Banshee Mining right quick.
Hi, Banshee.
Go ahead, John.
All right. So what are we looking at here? Well, in fact, let me adjust the window as well here. I've cut off the chat. There we go. So we're looking at a half cent, copper. We see a clear date, 1828. We see the stars. These bits. This part of the design is called the Denticles. It has those. You know, they're a little weak and mushy up here, but I think that's probably more the strike. And you see all the stars, and the stars are separate from the rim. The rim is this edge here, and the denticles are part of the rim. The purpose of the rim is to protect the design. And what else do we see? Well, when I look at coins, one of the first things I do is I look at Liberty, because a lot of coins have Liberty written on them in a headband. And in this case, we see Liberty. All the letters are there. They're pretty bold, too. And in this headband, we have the rail. So picture, you know, a rail on a train system. You have two sides, right? So this rail is complete. Little nick there, but it's complete. And this bottom rail is complete. We see hair detail here. So I don't know. Well, this hair detail is worn smooth. All right, so that's an important thing to remember. But this hair detail looks pretty good. You know, you can see the curls in the hair. So, all right, well, think about that. There's the ear. Ear is complete. You can see some facial details. You get a little bit of the eye and the lips and the nostrils and this little curl here. Okay, let's flip it over and see what the other side gives us. So now we have the wreath, and we see some decent wreath details. There's a ribbon, and we see some detail there, the folds and the knot. You can see some of the berries in the leaves and the details in the leaves. The legend, United States of America, that's complete. The rim is complete. Okay. So let's take everything that we now see, and let's open up the grading book, and let's see what we have. And we'll leave the coin up there. So I'm going to flip to the section for half cents. This is a classic head half cent. And let's read the conditions. So for fine condition, it says on the obverse, the front of the coin, will show some detail. Well, okay, the hair is worn from the top of the head to the bottom of the neck, and it does show some detail, but I think it shows more than some. I think it shows more than half the detail. So I don't think it's fine. I think it might be a grade above that, but let's keep reading. Hair ribbon and Liberty are worn but readable. Okay, well, there's the hair ribbon. It's worn, but again, you see the folds in it. So I think there's a little more detail than that. It's worn pretty much means it's worn smooth. You see no detail in there. And likewise, Liberty, yeah, sure, it's worn. This coin is circulated, but it's not worn away. It's not flat. And there you can clearly see the outlines of the letters. So I don't think this is fine. Let's go up one more grade and look at very fine. Very fine says the hair ribbon is distinct. Okay, well, it does stand out. You can see the outline of it going there and going there, and then it kind of ends there with the curls. So, yeah, okay, I think that's pretty good. Hair is worn from back of head to temples. From the back of the head to the temples. Well, it's certainly worn here. But again, you still see some details. So I don't even know if it's very fine. Liberty is strong. Yeah, Liberty's pretty strong. And stars have detail. Well, they do. If you look at this star, you can see the separation. You see the lines in them. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes you don't see that. It's not necessarily because of wear. It's because of the dye. They wear out. That's a detail that's going to wear out fairly quickly. So, all right, we have very fine. Let's take a look at what extremely fine is. Let's see what it says. Oh, and by the way, what I just read is very fine 30. Okay. So let's go up one more grade to very fine 40. I'm sorry, extremely fine 40. Extremely fine 40. Where shows above LIBR and to the right of I below those letters. Well, yeah, it certainly does have that. Somewhere shows on curls at back of head. Well, there are the curls in the back of the head. There's considerable wear there. I don't think there's some. I think there's probably more than some. And on the reverse, It says light wear on most of the leaves and high parts of the ribs above H. Okay, what does that mean? Well, light wear means you're seeing more than half of the detail, and I don't think we're hitting half the detail on these leaves. And the rib and high part of the ribs above H, so that would be right here. So this rib should be really distinct. It's not bad. It's not bad. Well, let me see what the we didn't read the reverse for very fine 30, which is what I'm kind of thinking this is. Reverse, leaves are worn nearly flat, but still show some detail. Well, that one, for example, is pretty much worn flat, but you can see a little detail there. Yep. This one's worn pretty much flat, but you can see a little bit of detail. But there's quite a bit of detail on that one, actually. And bow is well worn. Well, there's the bow, and it's, well, you know, I wouldn't call that well worn, though, because you can see the folds. You can see the curves in there. Yeah. So as far as grading, I think I like to grade conservatively. I don't like to stretch it. So I would say this, without question, is a very fine 30.
All right.
So as far as grading that, I mean, on a good day, maybe it could hit a low, extremely fine 40, but I'm going to be much more comfortable saying, especially if I were to sell this or trade it or whatever, that this is a very fine 30. There's no problem based upon these standards of this coin, based upon these characteristics. No problem, in my opinion, of this hitting very fine 30. It does that and then some. So let's just call it very fine 30 and stay safe. So there you go. There's the half cent. That's the grade. That's, in my opinion, why it would get that grade.
Okay.
All right.
Some good info on that coin.
So what do you have, Paul?
All right. We're going to start off.
Are you there, Paul? We can't hear you. We see your coin. We can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you want to, well, if you, I was going to say you could take me off and make your coin bigger, but don't do that. Then you wouldn't hear me.
Hold on.
So keep your coin there. If you're at home, you might want to maximize this screen so you can really see the details.
Yeah. All right. We got a 1943 steel penny that was in the collection my daddy and I started. And I mean, it's nothing spectacular just by looking at it. But we thought we'd talk about it. It's a unique coin. There's the reverse. But we thought we would kind of just grade it and see what we thought about it.
Yeah, wheat cents are a very popular coin. We find them coin roll hunting. You find them in pocket change. You can find them metal detecting. And there are some very valuable ones out there and some really interesting ones like this 1 year steel cent.
Yep.
All right. So Paul, as far as grading this, how do the bow tie and the ear look as far as wear?
Let's zoom in. Give me a minute.
See what it says about very fine. We'll start. I think this is very fine condition-wise. Now, there might be some issues with the surfaces, but as far as the details of the
okay,
let's take a look at that.
Let's get a little closer. Focus a little more. How's that look?
Okay. Now, again, we see some dark spots in the coins, and this is because it's a steel cent. So if you put a magnet to it, it's going to stick, but it's coated with zinc to protect it from, they didn't want these to rust. We all know what happens to steel nails if they're out in the, So that was the idea with the zinc. But zinc, unfortunately, gets kind of I don't know what you want to call it, a coating of gunk on it. It oxidizes. So it might be hard to see the details, Paul, but this is what it says about a very fine 30. You ready?
Yep.
There are small flat spots of wear on the cheek and the jaw.
Yep.
Okay. Hair still shows details. Oh yeah, you see clearly. You can see details in the hair. Yeah, like look at his forehead. You can see that little kind of Elvis curl he has going on.
Yep.
All right. Ear and bow tie are slightly worn.
Ears a little worn.
Okay, so the ears worn. You can see it. It's defined, right? You can top to bottom. You can make it out. How about the bow tie?
The bow tie looks like it's got a nick in it, but right there.
Sure, you see the center knot and you see the two sides.
Yep.
All right. Well, so that's very fine 30 anyway. Let's go up a little bit. Well, I'm sorry. Let's go back to very fine 30 and look at the reverse, because one of the pickup points for a wheat cent are those wheat stalks. Although really, when you're grading a coin, you're going to be looking at the front of it, the obverse. All right. So it says, as far as the reverse for very fine 30, the lines in the wheat stalks are lightly worn but fully detailed.
There's the left.
Okay.
And there's the right.
Okay. Well, from what I'm seeing those full lines going all the way up from the center to the top. Okay. So very fine 30 easily. So extremely fine 40, it says, high points of wheat stalks are worn, but each line is clearly defined.
Okay.
So those top lines, can you clearly see each one top to bottom? No wear?
Very little, if anywhere.
Okay.
Maybe on the left side, it fades where it says United States of America.
Okay.
There's one line. Maybe.
Okay. So let's flip it back over and look at the obverse for extremely fine 40. And it says for the obverse, wear shows on the hair, above the ear, on the cheek, and on the jaw. So they're looking above the ear, that little, the hair that would be there. And it says, is that worn down a bit?
It's got a little bit of detail in it.
Okay. Not super sharp. Doesn't jump out at you, but you can see it's defined. It has some definition. It's just not super clear, super crisp. Okay. Well, Paul, again, I think it's similar to the other coin. To be safe, we could say conditionally it's very fine 30 as far as the details. Maybe on a good day it might jump up to extremely fine 40.
All right.
Bye, Kane. Take care.
See you, Kane.
And did you say there was something under trust that maybe somebody tried to do something?
Yeah, I don't know, because back in the day, we just stuck it in a food saver pack and sealed it up. It is as it is. Yeah. And it looked like somebody may have tried to clean it right there or something.
I think so. There's the old trick of sometimes kids would take erasers and just erase the grime off. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe somebody, knowing it was a zinc-coated steel cent, they wanted to see that shine. Because if you look to the left of Abraham Lincoln's head, you have that coloration.
Yep.
And if this coin were not modified in any way as far as cleaning, then I would think the date side of it would look the same as the Liberty side of it. But the fact that there's so much clear fields on the right side tells me, yeah, somebody probably did try to do something with cleaning that.
Mm-hmm.
How about the back? Does the back look at all?
The back looks like normal environmental. Don't look like anybody tried to do anything to the back.
Yeah. So what happened? I mean, who knows? Somebody could have tried using a chemical to dip it, and then over many, many decades, it just began to tone back. Or it's really hard to say. But as far as the details, there's some nice details in that coin.
There is. There is.
Find 30 without any problem there as far as the details.
All right.
According to the ANA standards.
All right. Have you got a penny to show, or?
I do have another cent to show. So I'll put this one aside. And this is one of our favorites. This is an Indian head cent. And I'll zoom in a bit and focus.
1865.
So you can see what I'm looking at. Yeah. Last year of the Civil War. Okay, that's about as clear as I can get it. All right, so again, what do I look at? Well, with coins that have Liberty on the headband, that's the first thing that catches my eye. So looking here, clear, very clear, Liberty. In fact, I don't see anywhere on any of those. Looking at the ribbon, the tops and bottoms, the rails, complete top, complete bottom, complete side. So that's good. That's working in our favor. I see a little bit of streaking going there and there and there. So this may be a little bit of a wood grain one.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the feathers, they're clearly defined. I see wear on the tips of the feathers. This is, of course, this is a circulated coin. But as far as the feathers go, nice detail. You see the rib.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, the feather. And then you see the feathers themselves. So the only wear is there and there and there. Okay. We can see the ear clearly. We see the hair. Get some nice detail.
Mm-hmm.
Now this ribbon. This is another thing you look at with an Indian head cent. And I'm going to rotate it because sometimes you have to rotate it to really see what we're looking at. You're looking at those diamonds. So as far as the diamonds, what do I see? Well, there are 4 diamonds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, they can be weak because of the die state. If the die has put out a lot of these, eventually that really super fine detail on the coin is going to begin to wear. But there is a diamond there. There's a diamond there, pretty clear. This one is on the high point of the ribbon, and I only see the top of it. And then I see this one in the back, which is a little bit obscured. So I'm going to say this has 1, 2, 3 diamonds. Doesn't have the 4th, even though it has a little bit of it. That doesn't count. So it has 3 diamonds, or I guess you could say 3.5, but let's just say 3 diamonds. What else are we seeing? Well, the rim, the denticles are looking good. The legend, United States of America, looks good. The date looks nice and strong. Facial details look good. Necklace looks good. Okay. So I think we got a pretty strong set of details in this coin. And this is the reverse. Well, let's look at the shield. We see the lines in the shield. There's a little bit of wear there.
Yeah.
But the lines are complete. And these horizontal lines, the vertical lines also look complete. Now, each of these vertical bars has 3 or 4 lines going down, and there's some wear there. But still, there, you can see those bars going down. Let's look at the details in the wreath. Well, the oak leaves look pretty good. There's some wear on the tips. So again, this is definitely seen circulation. The ribbon, well, the ribbon looks pretty good. There's some wear there where it seems to be worn down into the arrows. But you see some detail there. You see some detail there. See the folds. And the oak leaves on this side look pretty good. You know, there's an acorn there. Leaves an acorn there that's worn. So some really pretty good detail on the wreath. I would say wear on the high points would be a good description of that. And wear on the high points of the ribbon, definitely. And 1 cent looks good. The shield looks pretty good. Denticles and the rim look pretty good. Okay. So let's take that. Let's go back to the obverse, because remember, the obverse is really where the grade is derived from. So let's take a look and see what the standards say about Indian head cents. I'm going to even start with extremely fine 40, the lower extremely fine. Description of the obverse. Feathers are well defined, and liberty is bold. All right, I would say there's definitely definition in all those feathers. Liberty is bold. Yep. Wear shows on the hair above the ear. So right there. Yes, yep, there's some wear there, right there.
Yep.
Curl to the right of the ribbon. So there's the ribbon. That's the right of it. So there's a curl there. Yep, there's not, right there.
Yep.
I think is what they're referring to. There's some wear there on the high points. And the end of the ribbon. Yeah, I think there's probably not as much wear as there is, say, here. But yeah, there's some wear there. Most of the diamond design shows plainly. Okay. Well, maybe not so much that, but we do get 3 diamonds, and they're probably hard to see in this camera, but there's definitely a full one there, a full one there, and a full one there. So most of the diamond design shows plainly. Okay, yeah. If you had this in hand, you'd agree with that.
Right.
All right, let's see the reverse. And what does it say for the condition on the reverse? To be extremely fine 40. High points of the leaves and bow are worn. We just said that. The high points of the leaves and the bow are worn. So, given that description, I have no problem calling this extremely fine 40. And some people like it, some people don't, but there's a little bit of wood grain there too, so that could be something. If I were to put this in a flip and add a description to it, I would add that it has wood grain on the obverse as well. So that is the Indian head cent, and I would give that EF 40, extremely fine 40 for a grade.
All right.
It would easily qualify for that grade.
So now I'm going to show another wheat cent. You can see that's a pretty shiny wheat cent. It's get it under the microscope here. You can see how shiny it is. Not in too bad a shape, don't look like. We'll get Jonathan to tell us what we're looking for to give this coin a grade.
All right, well, let's go back to our section on wheat cents. Because I am, again, my eye is drawn to the ear.
To the ear.
My eye is drawn to the hair detail above the ear. And my hair is drawn to the bow tie. So let's take a look at those details and see what
zoom in. Let's focus the other way. All right. All right. Looks like the ear worn pretty bad.
Okay.
The cheek is, the high spots has been worn.
Okay.
We have some definition of hair.
Mm-hmm.
And the bow tie. Huh?
I was going to the hair detail above the ear. How's that?
Very worn.
Very worn. Okay. Sorry.
And the bow tie looks pretty intact.
Okay.
Now you can't see the knot too good, but the definition of it. But it's there. I mean, you can tell.
So compared to the last coin, which we said was extremely fine 40, I believe, we don't have as much detail in the ear.
True.
On your steel scent, the ear was top to bottom. You could clearly see the curvature of the ear.
Definitely.
You could see some hair detail above the ear.
Yep.
And the bow tie, we could see that center knot in the bow tie.
Yep.
And in this one, you see the bow tie, but you don't clearly see the three parts of it, do you?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I think, just logic would dictate then. We're going to go down a grade from extremely fine. Let's look at very fine and see if it hits those points. So here's very fine 20. There's very fine 20 and very fine 30. Let's go with 20. Obverse. Head shows considerable flatness. Nearly all the details still show in the hair and on the face. The ear and the bow tie are worn but bold.
I wouldn't say the ear was bold. I'd say he had a flat ear.
Okay. Well, then let's go to fine condition then. Here's the description of a coin that's fine 12. Some details show in the hair. The cheek and the jaw are worn nearly smooth. Liberty shows with no letters missing. The ear and the bow tie are visible. I would say the ear is visible.
Yep. The bow tie
certainly is visible. Liberty is there. Now, let's take a look at the reverse and look at the wheat stalks, because for condition, they mentioned something about the wheat stalks. Most of the details are visible in the wheat stalks. The top wheat lines are worn, but they're separated. So, for example, on that right wheat stalk next to the T in scent, is there a little bit of wear? Does it look like those lines are a little bit mushed together? I can't.
A little.
Okay.
It kind of closer down to the bottom of the T, about the middle of the T.
Yes.
There
should be a little more definition there. Okay. I'm going to say, Paul, based on the ANA standards, that would be a fine 12 cent based upon those physical characteristics, the design characteristics, the circulation wear.
Yep. All right. My thinking is, Jonathan.
Yep.
This coin has been cleaned.
Now, why do you think that? I would agree with you for a couple of reasons.
Well, for one thing, your field back here wouldn't be this scratched up. That you can see some grime in the zero down at the bottom. Some in the letters. In God we trust. Under his chin right there, and it just, to me it looks like it's been cleaned. The other side, it's the same way. You wouldn't have the dark spots in the wheat stalks. You can see some grime around the letters. And your fields would be not scarred up so bad. But the other thing leads me to believe it's clean because I cleaned it. Just to kind of point out some things about clean coins.
Right. Like if you look at the color of this coin, it has that dark coppery tone to it. right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is even a little lighter than I would think from a 200 almost year old coin. A copper coin with that coloring would only have that shade of color, I would think. For them going back to the 1930 is would be if it were a mint state coin. If you see a coin with considerable wear, which that one did, but it's super shiny. Yeah, that kind of tells you that's a pretty clear indication that it's been cleaned. Kids did get their hands on these, and they did the vinegar and baking soda trick or the ketchup trick or whatever. Yeah, look at the difference between those.
Yep.
And that's that's not a light trick or anything that Paul's doing. That's one on top of the other. Same light, same magnification. And the 1930, Lincoln's face is almost obscured because the light is reflecting off it so much because it's been cleaned. Whereas on the 1944, I can see his beard, his chin, his mouth, his lips, his nose.
I mean, it's just something I wanted to throw in there just to. Now, I don't advise cleaning your coins, but just something I wanted to throw in there and see if somebody could pick it up and say, hey, that was a clean coin. So, all right. That was, it graded out better than I thought it would, but it's going to hurt it that it was cleaned.
That's right. That's right. So if it were a valuable wheat cent, like a 1909S or an 09S VDB or a 14D, and it were submitted to, say, PCGS or NGC, it would come back as fine details cleaned.
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously means, as far as the details go, yeah, it would grade fine, but it can't be considered or sold really or cataloged as a fine condition coin because it's been cleaned.
Right.
Because that does take away some points, so to speak, for the condition of a coin.
All right. Let's see. Have you got a nickel?
I have a 3-cent piece, actually.
You have a 3-cent piece. Let's take a look at it then.
I have 2 3-cent pieces.
Okay. We'll take a look at all of them then.
All right. Well, now we're going on 52 minutes. Do you want to, just a thought, if you want to stop after the 3-cent, we'll do maybe a couple more, then we can stop, because we thought about maybe doing this in a series, and we can some other time do what we have left.
We can. It's whatever.
Okay.
Let's do your 3-cent pieces, and we'll do a V nickel.
All right. Now most of the coins I'm showing you now, in fact, all but that Indian head cent, were coins that my grandfather had. And my grandfather, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe as a kid he got this in circulation, because these weren't. Well, I don't know. I don't. My grandfather passed away before I was born, but my point is that this one is you can just tell. In fact, that's the reverse. Those are the obverse. This coin has seen better days. So let's take a look at this coin. Let's take a look at the details. What would be the normal pickup points for grading this coin, or really any coin like this? So what do we have? Well, in fact, let me make this a little bigger on my screen. And move it up just a bit. Maybe back it off a little bit. So I want you to be able to see the entire coin. Okay, that's not bad. So we have the date, 1851, but it's worn.
Mm-hmm.
We have the legend, United States of America. And by the way, wording on a coin, legend versus motto. Okay, a legend, strictly speaking, a legend is any lettering on a coin, any words on a coin. A motto is a phrase that represents some cultural significance to a country. So liberty on a U.S. coin, that's a motto. E pluribus unum, in God we trust. Those would be considered mottos. The legend would be United States of America. So the legend, that's I can read UNITED STATES, but boy, they're worn. OF, again, you can make it out, but it's really worn. And AM, then it looks like it's really worn. There's a star. The star in the middle is complete, but the shield has seen better days. You can make it out, but there's not a lot of detail. And those horizontal lines are in pretty rough shape, and those vertical bars are pretty rough. So, and I'm just going to tap it. This is on a flat surface. I'm going to tap it with, this is a toothpick. I'm just going to tap it. You can see it rocks back and forth like a teeter-totter, like a seesaw. So this is bent too. So this one's in rough shape. This one needs some help. But then again, it's from 1851. I mean, we were the Civil War.
A young nation.
All right, so here we go. What do we have here? Well, we have the stars, 13 stars, and some of them are, like right here, they're pretty clear. One's up top. You can barely make out that one. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Stars are pretty bad, pretty mushed. And in this design, you have the Roman numeral 3, and then you have C, and that's for 3 cents. And there's a design there. I don't know what you'd call that. It's kind of like a stretched out diamond, and then some circles, and then a diamond, and then on the top, you'd have some more circles in that stretched out design. Well, that's completely worn, as you can see. And the top of the Roman numerals, that's getting worn too, and that's worn there. So there's a lot of wear on this coin.
Yes.
So just looking at this, I'm not even going to consider it being very good. It's going to be good if we're lucky, maybe about good. So let me go to 3 cents silver.
While you're flipping pages, let's say hello to Miss Dawn Williams.
Hi, Dawn.
Glad you could join us, Dawn.
So,
hope you're feeling good. Recouped from the big trip.
All right, I'm just going to read what it says for about good as a condition for this coin. I would be shocked if we get anything above, and I don't know. I don't know what I've always thought this was above. This was about good, but let's see what it says about good. Obverse, which is what we're looking at here. Design is outlined with nearly all details worn away. Well,
got a good outline.
Yeah,
but it's got
I guess somebody could say like the details are worn away there, but that curvature there, you can see the point there. Yeah. Date and legend are readable, but very weak. That's certainly it, because there's the legend again.
Yep.
That's pretty weak, and the date's weak. And merging into the rim, without question. Look at this. Those
definitely.
The rim. Look at that E and T. That's touching the rim. So just looking at that, I'm going to say this is about good. And I'm even going to say it would be, if it did grade, it would be about good damaged, because, like I said, it's like a lot of these trimes, these silver 3 cent pieces, they are so tiny.
Don't be playing tiddlywinks with it.
So here, I mean, there's, just as a comparison, that's the Indian head cent.
Yep. They are small, ain't they?
That's the size difference. And the width of it is probably 1/4 of the cent. So these were just ridiculously small coins. So it's no wonder that they didn't wear very well, and they weren't minted for very long. And the reverse, it says, entire design is partially worn away. Yeah. Rim is merged with the stars. Yeah, I'd say with that one it is. It's close to touching that one. Okay. Only parts of the design in C are visible. Yep, that part's visible.
Yep.
That part is, but those parts certainly aren't. So I think conditionally, this is an about good with the caveat that it's got a little bit of a lopsidedness to it.
Mm-hmm. No
But,
tiddling winks.
You know what? Again, for a coin that's 100, almost 175 years old. Well, no, it is 176 years old, right? 1851, 150, 60, 70, 171 years old.
Yep.
You know, we should look that good when we're 170 years old. So would I keep that in my collection? Sure. I'd keep it in my collection, certainly, because it had a sentimental value for my grandfather's collection.
Right.
But you know, it's still a neat piece. Not
It is
terribly expensive, but not a bad little piece. All right, so there's a 3-cent silver, also known as a trime, and it looks like you, Paul, have a Liberty V nickel.
Yep.
Liberty Head V nickel.
Liberty Head V nickel, 1883.
First year of issue.
Also known as the Racketeer nickel, because flip it on the reverse. Like Johnson said, first issue. People would plate these with gold and pass them as $5 gold piece. And to prevent that, I have one in my collection, but I don't have it out. Down here, it would have said cent for 5 cents. And then couldn't nobody mistake it as a $5 gold piece. All right, Jonathan, let's look at some details.
Okay. So again, if you just hopped in, I'm looking at this book, the American Numismatic Guide, Grading Standards. Let's see what that comes out as, Paul.
All right. Right off the bat, you can see the LIBE in Liberty.
Okay. So now in that design, you really couldn't see a full Liberty because it's just the way that coronet, it's called, that little crown tiara thing that she was wearing.
Mm-hmm.
But just looking here, I see LIBER with my naked eye. So that's good.
Yep.
Nice, strong. So in other words, a strong Liberty. I like that.
Yep. Yep. Nice, strong tiara.
Yeah. Describe the details in the ear, hair, face, curls. Because look like something happened to Liberty.
It does look like something has happened right through here. I don't know what. This was a gift to me, and that's the way I got it. Lynn Johnson seems to think maybe somebody got a hold of a pair of pliers, needle nose pliers or something. But it's just from the back of her jaw up to the tiara.
Yeah, look at the level of the hair detail in the, what would you call that in the back, like the bun, where it's all wrapped.
The bun, up. Yep. Very nice.
Yes, it is. The denticles look terrific. You're pointing to a star. What are you?
I was just trying to point to the bun.
But you see separation in the stars with just, again, naked eye.
Yep. You can see the what I call what would you call that? Dental toothing?
Denticle.
Denticles. Yep. They all look good.
Yeah.
Basically, about the only thing wrong with this coin is whatever happened right here.
Yeah.
Got good.
Got a hold of it.
Yep. You see curl detail right here.
Okay. Well,
I mean, all the stars are this one, and this one, and this one show a little wear.
Yeah. And again, that's not necessarily because of circulation. That could just be the dye state. That part of the dye just could have been at a point where it was losing that detail and it couldn't therefore stamp it into the coin. Okay, well, let's look at that coin. Let's go with extremely fine, because that's not fine. I can tell you that right now. It's at least very fine, if not extremely fine, possibly even about uncirculated. But let's see what the ANA standards say.
All right.
So, all right, let's look at very fine. I even think we could cross that one off. But very fine 30. So that upper grade very fine can be 20 or 30. Let's look at very fine 30. On the obverse, 3/4 of the hair detail show.
I would say yes.
I would say more than that. Yeah. Coronet. Oh, it is called a coronet. The coronet has full bold lettering.
Yep.
I would agree with that. All right, let's flip her over.
Okay. Now this is going to surprise you, because we do not see any pliers or any damage.
All right, well, the standards say on the reverse, the leaves in the wreath are worn, but most of the ribs are visible. Well,
I see a little wear right there.
Mm-hmm.
Those two.
Well, looking at the corn stalks and looking at that, looks like a maple leaf right above it, and looking at the leaves where the cotton is, cotton balls in their leaves, and the wheat stalks above that. That's kind of a neat thing design-wise about that wreath with the Liberty nickels. It's all sorts of, like, you know, the important agricultural products of the day: corn, wheat, cotton. So anyway, looking at those leaves, I wouldn't say they're worn. There's wear, there's slight wear, but I wouldn't say they're worn.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's jump up to extremely fine, see if it hits that. In fact, let's go to the upper extremely fine 45.
Don says EF.
Okay, well, let's see. On the obverse, so getting back to the face, slight wear shows on the high points of the hair from the forehead to the ear. Unfortunately, we can't determine that because, again, something we don't know. We can just tell you that in a general sense, something happened, and that's post mint damage. I can't. Paul and I were looking at that last night, and we were wondering, could that have been like a dye clash or something? But my intuition tells me somebody did something to it, either put it on a piece of wood and hit it, tried to cool it with something. I don't know what they did and why they did it, which is a shame because it's a nice coin.
It is.
But in any event, extremely fine 40. Slight wear shows on high points of hair from the forehead to the ear. I would think, just based upon the hair detail, it would have no problem hitting that.
Right.
And the reverse, since the reverse wasn't damaged, let's look at the reverse and see if that gives us any clues too. Okay. Again, when you're grading a coin, you have to go first and foremost and almost completely with the obverse. But let's look at the reverse, see what it says for extremely fine. High points of the wreath are lightly worn. Many lines in the corn at the bottom are clearly defined. Now, I would agree with that.
When you can see the kernels of the corn.
Yep.
Right there.
Yep. That tells me that's it. So again, extremely fine has extremely fine 40, and extremely fine 40, and extremely fine 45 on the upper scale. I would say that's extremely fine 45 with, unfortunately, whatever that damage is. So
yeah.
Based on their information. I think that's extremely fine 45, easily, conservatively, extremely fine 45. Maybe on a good day it would hit about uncirculated. Impossible to tell with the damage on the obverse.
Yeah.
And did you mention at the below the V that motto, E pluribus unum, and what happened? What the story is there for those who may not know? With the racketeer nickel and all that.
Yeah, they they come out with another nickel because everybody was trying to gold plate this one, and so they had to prevent that from happening. They put cent right here, the word cent, and to keep people from mistaking it as a $5 gold piece.
That's
which
right.
had the same design as this. And I mean, you could take this coin and gold plate it and say it was a $5 gold piece.
That's right. And 1883, there were still places in. I'm just thinking of what was that HBO series? Deadwood. Places like Deadwood in South Dakota and Montana and Wyoming, as we were pushing out towards California, there were these small settlements. And not that it happened only there, but especially if you maybe weren't, you didn't see a whole lot of money in these new designs. If somebody came into town, this first year of issue, remember, if somebody came with maybe they didn't see the new 1883 nickel. They would have been used to the shield nickel or a half dime or something. And right, if you gold plated this and it's the same diameter as a $5 gold piece, which would have been around at the time, you could have fooled somebody. So the U.S. Mint redesigned it, and they put cents at the bottom. So the E pluribus, well, let me see. I have the red book right here. Let's see how many E pluribus unums there were and how many cents there were.
So, Don, you was right. The EF coin.
Yeah. I know.
Good guess.
You want to find the person who did that and say, what was going through your brain? So 1883, Liberty had V nickel without cents, which is what Paul has. There were only 5.4 million minted. And with cents, there were 16 million minted. So that coin is has a third less mintage as the one that has cents. So it's a rarity in that sense. But that's neat. Yeah, I've always been fascinated with that story, and
let me see if I can
for the person who fell for the prank, but
yeah, they lost a lot of money.
They did. That was a lot of money back then. And supposedly, if the person couldn't be charged with any kind of larceny, if he or she, bought a cigar, which probably would have been 3 cents, and put that down, and the shopkeeper gave them $4.93 back in change, it would have. The law would have interpreted it as the fault of the shopkeeper for not knowing that was not a $5 gold coin. If a shopkeeper gives you the wrong change and you walk out the door, you're not obligated to return around and give them back the difference, I guess. Same back then.
All right.
Well, Paul, we are at 1 hour and 15 minutes. What do you think? Do you want to stop here and pick this up maybe next? Oh, there's an example of the cents, right? That's not an 1883, is it?
I think it's a 1912.
1912. Okay. Well, there's the last year of issue. Although there's the 1913 V nickel that the mysterious one, but so that's great. You have first and last year of mintage of that coin.
So I mean, it's
and there's not an S on there, is there? That would be a rare one. below the
No.
dot? No. Oh, that's too bad.
No.
That would be hundreds of dollars coin. So, I mean, Paul, I'm perfectly fine with, now we've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. If we want to stop here and we can go back and not go back, we can look ahead and maybe next, up to you, next Friday or next Saturday, we can continue with this. Or
yeah,
we can do it in a month.
It's whatever. We'll get together, and guys, we will definitely be back. And
if you'd like to see more of this, put something in the comments. Let us know, because we have.
Yes, Dawn, I do know. Dawn said, "I love my coins."
It's a great hobby. It really is.
It is.
It's fascinating. There's so much connected, I would argue, with coin collecting or to coin collecting.
So I want to thank everybody that joined us tonight.
Thumbs up to you.
Yep, thumbs up. Thank you. Appreciate you. Maybe we'll get back to doing some more live streaming and cutting up and having fun. And Dawn, you know I like to have fun. So, yeah, we had, 7 coins set aside to do tonight? And
yeah, so 14 in all. I had 7, Paul had 7, but at this rate, we'd be going until 11 o'clock.
Yes.
So,
maybe we can do this again next Saturday night, and we'll talk about it, Jonathan, and
okay,
just carry on the series. And
yeah, that's it exactly. We'll do this as a series. We could even do just looking at cents, just looking at nickels, just looking at,
I've got a few war nickels. I've got a bunch of Wheaties, some newer stuff. We will not be doing any foreign coins.
No, that's tough, because again, this is the American Numismatic standards, and it's just US coins. There are books for grading foreign coins. There's Haxby has a good one for Canadians. Spink has a good one for English coins, but grading foreign coins is tricky.
Yeah. So, let's see. What was going to be your next coin if we went on tonight, Jonathan?
The next one in my lineup, Paul, was a 3-cent copper nickel.
Okay. We'll start with Jonathan.
That baby.
We will grade my very first silver that I dug next week. And it's a 1951 Rosie. Hey, they can be graded too. Silver is a coin that don't get a lot of environmental damage. Some places it does. Some places I've seen them turn black. And I was real fortunate with this one. And I will take a look at it, give it a grade, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Well, Jonathan, I appreciate you joining me tonight. Anything else you want to say?
No, I appreciate the invite. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms and grandmas out there.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you for all you do. We wouldn't be here without you.
That's it.
And
that's it.
Yeah, grading is, if you're into coin collecting at any level, grading is one of those skills that you really should know, because you don't want to look at somebody else's grade and just assume it, accept it as gospel. You should have that background knowledge too, whatever tool you use, whether it's watching a video like this, whether it's going on Pcgs and looking at photo grade, whether it's getting the books. I'm a huge advocate of having, you don't have to have a huge library, but if you have, a shelf with 3 or 4, 5 good coin books on there, you're going to be ahead of the curve, and you can do the grade. So if you see a coin that you really like in that coin store, coin show antique shop online and you really like it and the seller's saying it's extremely fine, it's up to you to be able to confirm that, because grading is subjective. Even if you spend the money to send a coin to NGC or PCGS, there are people who get them back and say, what? No, I don't agree with that grade. It's okay. You can, it's up. You're the owner. You're paying the money for it. It's your property. So it's always good to, if somebody says it's a certain grade, it's always good to be able to say, yeah, I agree because of this, this, and this, or I disagree because of this, and this. So that knowledge is power in coin collecting, and it's an important thing to have.
It's to help you learn a little more about the coins and how they're graded.
All right. And what their values are.
Yeah. All right. I guess it's set. We'll be back next Saturday night. And we'll start off, like I said, with Jonathan. And
if not, Paul will make a video. And we'll let you know when we're going to be going online. And yeah, so if you missed the first part of it, well, if you're watching now, you probably did watch the first part of it. But when Paul and I did this, we thought it's kind of a tough time. So, but we like the teaching part of it, and so if this helps you out, great. And if you have any comments, if you think that what we said is off the mark, if you disagree with it, yeah, put it in the comments. We're not going to be offended. If we graded something at very fine, and you say, "Are you kidding me?" That you'd be lucky to get fined. I'd love to. What's your rationale for saying that? It's we're all friends here. It's
and that's why we're going. When I show my 1951 Rosie, guys that come out of the ground, we may be surprised at what it grades.
Yeah.
So y'all come back. Hopefully next week. We'll start at 8 o'clock again. That's if that's all right with Jonathan, and we'll do this again.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. Everybody have a good night. Jonathan, if you'll hang on.
I will.
And we'll see everybody. Like we said, hope everybody has a happy Mother's Day and tomorrow, and just enjoy your day. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye, guys.